Hello to my fellow autistics, and here is my video. So, I am, as the people who've been watching this channel from the beginning have hopefully already picked up, I am completely blind and I have ASD. But this video is kind of about, I'm going to talk about what it's like, kind of why I went without really realizing I'm autistic, and then I'm going to talk about what it's like being blind and autistic, being blautistic, as my term goes. So, the reason I didn't realize that I'm autistic is because, honestly, all of my autistic behaviors or autistic traits were attributed to blindness, as I kind of mentioned in the first video, I believe it was the first video. As I kind of mentioned in that video, everyone was like, "Oh, you don't know how to socially interact, or you don't know how to interact with people in a social situation because you are blind, and you kind of didn't see people do it." And so I was like, "Okay, whatever." But my ex-girlfriend was very social. Like, she has a lot of friends, and so I was like, "No, this cannot be this. Like, it's not me." So, I kind of, like I said, did all the research and blah. If you want to see that first video, it's on my channel. Okay, so now, being blind and being autistic. I don't have the light sensitivity because, I can't see at all. But I do have, I can't eat certain foods because they're just so, I cannot. Even the idea of trying certain foods, it's just the textures, if they're slimy, if they're, I'm just like, nope, run the other way, just run away. In all seriousness, I think my sensory, because they can sometimes be sound related, like they can be auditory, my sensory issues, but most of them are oral, or even some of them are touch related, they're tactile. So, being blind and having ASD, lots of people will try to attribute my behaviors to being blind. Like, for example, me rocking back and forth, that is another, what they call a blindism. And I say, okay, no. Look, yes, it's also, partially due to me being blind, maybe, sure, but honestly, I feel like it is way more due to me being autistic than it is to me being blind. Oh my god. Why am I yawning? Now I've heard some things about being autistic and having sleep issues. I will tell you, with blindness and then with my comorbid diagnoses of, so definite diagnosis of depression and possible diagnoses of anxiety and OCD, I don't sleep. So with blindness comes an issue called non-24, and if you've seen any of the commercials, you know what it is. So non-24 is a sleep disorder. Our circadian rhythms, Jesus, are out of whack because we don't see the lights. So okay, a normal-sighted person wakes up because there's light in their bedroom, and they're like, "Oh, I gotta wake up," and obviously they have stuff to do. And then they do their thing all day, and when the sun starts going down, their brain starts to kind of unwind, and they start to kind of, their body starts to kind of relax, and okay, it's almost time for us to go to bed, and then when it's time for them to go to bed, they're like, okay, time to go to bed. For us blind people, we don't see any of that, so basically, unless I have, a day ahead of me, unless I have to go to work or to go to school or something, which I don't at the moment, I'm going to see about that later, but unless I have something to do, I sleep when I want and I wake up when I want. So there have been times where I've slept all friggin' day and I've stayed up all damn night, and it's not fun. It might sound fun to some people. They might be like, ooh, no, it's nerve-wracking. I'm alone with my thoughts, and with me having depression, I get very wrapped up in my thoughts. So it's being awake at night is a bad idea because there are no distractions, because my friends are asleep, so I can't talk to them. My parents, well, they're not the best anyway, but you know. Okay, well, point being, so that's the first thing about being blind and being autistic. My sleep issues are exacerbated. Second of all, being blind, so blindness is my, what is the word? And of course I can't think of the word. My main diagnosis, I guess you can call it. I was blind before I knew I was anything else. And then depression is second. The others are not, they're all self-diagnosed. But honestly, I am very, 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 very sure of these things. They're not just whims of mine. They're not just, anxiety I've thought I've had for years on end. Now that I analyze all my symptoms, yes. So none of these are just off the top of my head, just whims. None of them are, I'm just guessing, or I made very, very, very educated conclusions. So the point being, with blindness being my main diagnosis, I often feel like, especially now that I'm kind of realizing I'm autistic, I'm kind of starting to feel like people are like, okay, you're not autistic. Like, I've gotten this from a couple of psychologists, school psychologist people that I used to know in high school and middle school, and honestly, they were just excusing it, or they were just dismissing my ASD because just solely for the fact that I'm blind, and all these things can be attributed to blindness, which is ridiculous. No, they can't. No, they really, really can't. Like, because these people are used to seeing, classical autism, meaning the I don't know, like the stereotypical, that's what I'm trying to say, like the little kids having giant meltdowns and the non-speaking autistics. I'm not saying that that's not a reality for some people. I'm saying that's not my reality, and the fact that these people are saying it this way, it's like, ugh, gets under my skin. Okay, so let me see. I'm trying to think of just everything that, for me, being blind and being autistic is kind of interesting. It's a little lonely because I don't know any other blind autistics. I've heard of one or two others, but that's it. Like, I don't what is the word? I don't know any personally. I don't know any people who are on the spectrum. Wow, my freaking mouse just isn't working today. People who are on the spectrum and they're blind. I've heard of like partially sighted people, but I've never heard of a completely blind person who happens to be autistic. Oh my god. I'm so sorry. This video is not my best. The next subject I'm going to talk about, I'm far more passionate about. It's not that I'm not passionate about this, I just don't know exactly. I've never actually thought about this, and this was kind of a request made. And I should have taken the time to think about it, but I just wanted to get this video out. By the way, I feel really bad. This is, I forgot to say it at the beginning of the video. This was requested by Hope for Ages. Thank you so much. I am so sorry. I totally forgot to. And I even had it in my head. I was like, I'm going to credit this person, and I completely forgot to do it. Wow. Okay. So let's see. Being blind and being autistic is kind of an interesting situation for me, because I don't, so it's often theorized that autistics can learn at least a little bit more than they knew about body language and facial expressions if they actually get like social skills training. So the theory that I've heard says that over time autistics can gain knowledge of these things just by getting like therapy blah, blah, blah. But I actually cannot ever, because I can't see. So there is no way of getting me to a point where I can understand body language. I'll never be able to understand that. And people often kind of have that theory, and I'm just like, okay, no, not gonna be me, sorry. And I'm kind of in an interesting boat, by the way, being late diagnosed and self-diagnosed, because I'm actually just starting to learn about all this. Because autism is the newer diagnosis, so I'm not able to really know a lot about it yet, but I'm learning. Alright, so that's about it, I think. If I think of anything else, I'll make a part 2. Yeah. Thank you so much. Again, thank you to Hope for Ages for putting this on, or tweeting this request at me. I really appreciate it. Please keep them coming. I am going to try to make videos weekly. It's my computer actually went down, so I wasn't able to do it. So I am going to try to make videos once or twice a week. We'll see how I'm feeling with, depression and, oh dear God. Okay. I have a few more videos in mind, so I don't need requests yet, but I'll definitely ask for things when I actually need them. Alright, thank you so much. Like, comment, and subscribe, please. And I'll see you guys in the next video. This is Resident Autistic Person signing off.